The positions, Antonelli tries to come back, Ross chops across, and George for the
with it.
It's a simple question. If those are yours, where do you golf?
I went to I just moved out here. I went to Los Robles the other day, I think it was called.
So you don't golf here locally? What brand are your golf clubs?
There I have ping irons.
Wrong. Step over here.
What?
They're not ping irons.
Sir, this is completely Drew. Put the
They're
camera down.
not ping irons.
And just and
You don't know where you golf.
what you think I stole the golf clubs?
You want to turn it off?
Do I know where I golf?
I asked you a simple question. If those are yours, where do you golf?
I went to I just moved out here. I went to Los Robles the other.
The big man first. Come on, guys. Yo, okay, I got it.
What the?
I got you. But we gotta talk to the big man first. Come on, guys. Yo, okay, I got it.
What the?
Picked a great main, but your voice doesn't quite match it?
Yo, Kanata, what's up?
Yo, what's good, 50? What's up, bro?
What are you doing right now?
I'm just chilling, man. I'm just watching West, seeing what the competition is looking like.
Bro, I just had the craziest dream. We need to add new talent for 2026.
I mean, who we're gonna get though? We should probably just get like a second opinion. Let me ask someone to call real quick. What's up?
What's up? Fuck, bro. I had this craziest dream featuring Greg. We need new talent for 2026. Do you have anyone in mind? I got you. But we gotta talk to the big man first. Come on, guys. Yo, okay, I got it.
What the?
What's up?
Ozzy, we need one more player to add to this roster, man. 2026, Art got banned. Kanata's just a dud. Oliver, it's just like, we need one more player. What do you think?
I think I know just the guy.
Bro, I don't know who you're gonna get, man, but it's gotta be someone good, bro.
Hold up. Let me add him to the call.
Who is calling me right now? Ozzy Antics? Hello?
What's up?
What's up?
Yo, Vic. Welcome to Dignitas, man.
Wait, what? What's up?
Okay.
Here's 3. Hours of Fortnite Facts to Fall Asleep Part 2. One of the more awkward pieces of Fortnite trivia is how Venom trolled everyone in 2024 with his symbiote scythe pickaxe. What looked like a simple harvesting tool was actually exclusive to Eddie Brock, banning it from being used by any other skin. Usually they have only done this for characters like Thor and his hammer, which makes sense, you know, except this one had zero logic. That's because the symbiote scythe isn't even a power that Venom has. It's an ability of other symbiotes like Riot, causing everyone to laugh at Fortnite for such a weird decision. And luckily, the backlash was so powerful it forced them to put out a tweet saying it'll work with any outfit in 2025. Now, not every crossover is wrong. Fortnite actually put a ton of effort into ones like Godzilla. Not only did this guy get his limited time event on the map, even his quests were full of incredible secrets. Like one challenged players to travel 1,954 meters while airborne. It feels like a random number, but it's a nod to the year 1954, which is the date the first Godzilla film released. It continues with the quest to destroy 38 structures with his heat ray, 38 being the amount of Godzilla films currently released. Well, that's a really hidden reference right there, but then there's dealing 120 damage to opponents one story above, and that is actually Godzilla's height in meters. Who would have guessed that one? Finally, one of them has caused 2,024 damage to vehicles. This number feels a little bit more familiar than others, and it's of course the most recent year a Godzilla film is dropped. One of the latest Air Jordan collabs brought characters like Flytalis to the game, and seeing a fully metal panther, it's already pretty cool, but what if I told you his knee joints were backwards? I really can't unsee this, but there's an amazing reason for it, and that's because panthers actually do have backwards knees. Fortnite also loves to add iconic memes. I mean, they're basically the king of it at this point. One example is the trailer for Winterfest 2024, where it references a hilarious TikTok trend. Basically, people are in the middle of putting their Halloween decorations away, and then hear something from the sky. Now, here's Fortnite's take. What about hidden details? Well, when Fortnite partnered with Disney to bring Pirates of the Caribbean to the game, I think some of the devs were true fans of the series. And that's because they went out of their way to provide secret dialogue for Captain Barbossa. If you visited his NPC, you would get a range of options. One of them
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform. Describe what you want and watch it take shape. You can plan, customize, and expand in any direction. From tools built for one to platforms ready for many. From passion projects to enterprise-grade systems. Everything is built in and ready to launch. It's a new world of creation, where you can go as far as your imagination takes you. Can you imagine it? Let's make your dream a reality right now.
Them letting you purchase an apple. Now in Fortnite, they're probably the most useless consumables out there and no one in their right mind would spend gold on one. Knowing that, Fortnite must have put this here for a reason, and a reason there was. Turns out Barbossa's favorite food in the movies is of course, apples.
And the apple's one of those next. Apple.
Earlier in Chapter 6, we got one of the craziest partnerships of all. Godzilla was taking over the game, at the same time Hatsune Miku joined Fortnite Festival. Safe to say these two would usually never be seen in the same place, and that caused fans to go crazy over it. It spawned fan art, memes, you name it, and soon it would catch the attention of Epic themselves. In a tweet promoting the crew pack, they put Miku and Godzilla together and said, name a more iconic duo. Now Fortnite OG has been constantly making waves with its new take on classic outfits. Each pass has even outdone its predecessor, like how Black Knight was totally improved. But what if I told you it's not just the battle passes, it's even the item shop? Like when Recon Raptor joined the game, a remix version of Raptor obviously, and while you might not agree his skin is better, you can't deny the back bling is genius. This is Tactical Jams, and instead of a backpack, it's a speaker. But if you read the description of both old and new, they reference each other years apart. The Raptor satchel is called Royal Air Force Standard Issue, while the latest is called the New Royal Air Force Tactical Issue. It's not just remix outfits that have made OG so popular. With Season 2 being night themed, they decided to truly embrace it with the quests. All of the challenges had descriptions written in a medieval tone, like calling minis a libation to your health and calling the bus driver a carriageman. Most people don't even read these small descriptions, so it's an amazing secret. Don't forget the season wasn't just known for its night theme, it was also the time that players started to make the craziest discovery in Fortnite history. If you go all the way back to this original season, it was here we realized if you landed on an RPG missile right after it fired, you would stay on top of it. And thus, rocket riding was born. It ended up being a total glitch that players loved so much, Fortnite kept it in. And to mark the occasion, OG Season 2 added a spectacular secret. If you rocket ride during this time, a hidden reward would show up, granting you 10,000 XP for embracing the nostalgia. Now when it comes to Godzilla and Kong's crossover, Epic seriously did their homework with the collab, because the Kong skin, it's insanely accurate. Most players could tell this was the version of Kong from the latest movie, because, well, it's hard to miss the giant glove on.
The way I see it, no one is just one thing. We all have two modes, right? One that's playful, imaginative, and likes to see ideas come to life. And another that likes to lock in with the project and the brief and be all about the business. Both of them are brilliant, both of them are necessary. And like me, the best things happen when the two exist together in one place. Like my Windows PC.
How are you gonna pitch the boss on a campaign we just came up with?
It's a little thing called aura farming, right, Isla?
If you've heard of it, no one says it anymore.
Pitching is easy. Just drop a casual remark about the time I discovered Mr.
Wait, do people sometimes say no when you guys ask for things? That must really suck.
Okay, guys, just relax, okay? Just use Generate Presentation in Acrobat to turn our work into a polished presentation in seconds. Bam, and just text me the link.
Liam is ready for you.
We got it. Go ahead, please.
You are strong, you are powerful, you are full of earth juices. You will grow tall and beautiful and emotionally intelligent. You are the main character of your own story.
You're 3 o'clock, Mr. Gilroy.
Yes, it's my plant Todd.
Shoes off.
Yeah. My nervous system is so primed for your pitch. This morning, I visualized it while holding my breath for an hour in a float tank. Oxytocin?
I'm okay.
You sure? It's super pure.
I'm all dosed up.
All right, fill me up with this pitch.
The pitch?
The bitch.
I got a pitch itch, and it needs a scratch.
Boom! Presentation ready.
That was quicker than my marriage to Betty.
Now all we have to do is text us in the link.
Hold up. Are you really going to use a template without customizing it?
Why not?
It's tending non-playable.
What's that?
In last year's lingo, it's giving NPC.
Still nothing.
I'll take it from here.
Okay, so the pitch. They didn't text yet.
How's it taking so long? Generate presentation takes like 2 seconds.
A lot of intense coughing going on over there. Good thing I started off my day with some unpasteurized yak plasma, straight from the teat.
We're gonna have to stall.
How? Okay, we've got our branding in there.
As an accent color, how's turquoise?
Turquoise just a science chopple game.
Hey.
Yeah.
Heads up. There we go. No look.
How about that, though?
Presentation.
These numbers are so try-hard.
It's a data presentation.
Back in my day, we pitched with nothing more than hand-drawn storyboards, a carton of smokes, and misogyny.
Pick a card, any card.
Can't. Gnarly gambling addiction. No way.
That's fair.
All right, I'm calling it.
Bruh,
We're going with this theme.
it's kind of a burgundy flag, but I guess it does pass the vibe check.
Texting us in the link now.
And now I will make her reappear.
What?
Oh my God, finally. And that concludes the right brain portion of our presentation. Now, of course, we have also generated a presentation that includes data from our most recent marketing analytics.
Yes. Approved.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Yes.
Wait, you don't want to see all the data?
Awesome. Data is like a fire extinguisher. Doesn't matter what's in it. Do you know what's in it?
No.
What matters is that it's there. That's what makes us feel safe. Now get the out of here and start making this thing. I've got my serotonin transfusion.
Serotonin transfusion?
Every Tuesday, I get 3 pints from a young man who just scored a touchdown. It feels exactly like scoring a touchdown.
Next time on The Marketers.
What do you think about me taking the lead on set today?
No, this is a big presentation for me, and we cannot have anything go wrong. Okay, Patty? What was that?
Nothing.
On his arm. But hiding in his mouth, you'll discover a metal tooth. It's the same one that was put in after his fight with Scar King. Speaking of Scar King, knocking out Kong's tooth wasn't the only way he made an influence on the Fortnite crossover. During the event, if you went to the mountains near Canyon Crossing, you would spot a giant handprint on the rock. At first, we thought this might be a teaser for a Scar King outfit or something like that, but it was actually a nod to his own handprint from the film. Not the only secret hiding on Chapter 6's map, because there is an obscure movie Easter egg over at Foxy Floodgate. With this season leaving YouTube bots all over the island, they basically served as Fortnite's unofficial mascot for a while. So most players would be forgiven for seeing this guy crush his buddy with a forklift. You know, it's just your average bot situation. They do get up to some wild stuff. Except, what if I told you it's actually a reference to Austin Powers? One of the most insane Easter eggs went over everybody's head during the Greek season. We were all pretty confused when we dropped down and noticed a foot with 6 toes. If it looks familiar, that's because you probably watched the show Lost. At one point in it, they discover a broken foot that looks identical. Well, kinda. If you count the toes, they also don't have the normal amount, instead giving their statue 4 of them. So to fix Lost's mistake, Fortnite decided to give their foot 6 toes, which finally completed the set and gave them 10 total. When we heard the Incredibles were coming to Fortnite, people were so excited to see Elastigirl. But this is where it got awkward. It turns out there is a legal issue with adding her name to the game. That's because DC technically owns the name Elastigirl. I know it's really weird. So this explains why we logged into the game and saw Miss Incredible instead. Barely anyone batted an eye at this, even though she's not ever called that in the films. It's not the only Disney secret to blow fans away. There are insane features you don't know about hiding in everyday items, like Jack Sparrow's glider. It turns out this is one of the only items with a hidden ability, and barely anyone talks about it. Just press the trigger button while you're gliding to shoot cannons. It's one of only 3 gliders in the whole game with a hidden ability like this. But it also turns out that FORTNITE has been appreciating a classic parody song for years now. Let's take it back to LEGO's Colombo update, where Epic described the Tomato Head cult in the best way possible. Maybe they arrived after Tomato Town was wiped out, or maybe they've been here before Tomato Town was even a thing. If you don't know about this meme, well, it's a reference back from the original FORTNITE Season 2. Here, you could drink a Chug Jug at Tomato Town to complete a secret XP quest, and both of these are nods to Chug Jug with you.
We got a #1 victory royale. Yeah, FORTNITE, we bout to get down. 10 kills on the board right now. Just wiped out Tomato Town.
Really hoping they make this a jam track at some point. For now, we can rock out to Sparkle Diva's glider, which plays a completely original song. Let's take it back to the Greek season, where they had all kinds of references to the old Chapter 2 spy game. Like this trailer had Sky's beanbags and Meowscles cat food, but it turns out this was also an Easter egg to one of the biggest shows of all time, Breaking Bad. Not only is it the same color as the famous RV, but there's even 2 lawn chairs outside along with a slurp barrel. Now when Chapter 6 first launched, we all rushed onto the map to find the coolest small POIs, and that's when fans noticed this crab on the beach. At first glance, you'd think, oh cool, the crab from Chapter 1 is here, except looking at the location and the DJ set on the sand, this has actually been transformed into the perfect crab rave reference. Heading back to Godzilla again, his set is really cool. First of all, his back bling, the exospine, usually adds the spikes on any outfit, but that's unless you put it on Godzilla himself, because this back bling will seamlessly merge with the spikes, adding the Monarch tech on the sides. That's not all. If you decide to put a different back bling on Godzilla, those spikes would have been pretty awkward to make work, so instead Epic just straight up shaves his scales off to make room for any back bling. Kinda looks like it hurts. As for his roar, the little Godzilla attack emote will actually change depending on what you're wearing. When you're dressed as Kong, you'll hear, but decide to rock this as Mecha Godzilla and you'll get. Now I really gotta stop and question FORTNITE for a second here, because when the Chapter 6 map dropped, those U2 robots I mentioned earlier, well, they did way more than just reference Austin Powers. Let's just say one of them got into a situation that's a little not safe for work, so I really hope it was just an innocent joke, Epic. At least there's more family-friendly secrets on this map, because we finally got to see the Frog family again, continuing their story from the last couple of chapters. Last time we saw them, they were teaching their kids diving lessons, and the learning continues as they're jumping from even higher on this island. It's nice to know they're still here as one of the longest running Easter eggs in FORTNITE history. Let's quickly talk about Rick and Morty. In the show, Rick travels to an entirely different planet just to go to.
Face it, you don't sound like a veteran space raider. No one believes your
war voice.
And that's why you need voice mod.
Sound off with a voice that matches your main.
Or assemble and deploy your best audio memes with the perfect timing. Whether you want to speak with a realistic
Battlefield radio voice
or clear up your comms with the voice enhancer, our app works with any gamer app that supports voice chat. Download voice mod and become whoever you want.
Let me get a punch. Let me just feel a punch. Let me get a punch. What a hook, dog, sleep, yeah, yeah, dog. What a hook, dog, sleep, yeah, yeah, dog. What a hook, dog, sleep, punch, man. Don't keep getting me before I make you bleed. Pay for your rest in peace. Is the only piece that you need. Even a punch. This is the purge. Everybody, please, your purge. Your perma kick these people with my kid count. People like me pick a pack of bricks for a week per day per minute. Rapper like me can pull and panic. Vocal back for you need for the proof.ไม่ควรได้ไฟเข้าใจมึงรู้อะไรไม่รู้พร้อมพวกขี้แพ้มาพายกับพูดที่พูดไปก็ไร้ค่อยก็ต่อยสักชุดดีกว่าพวก Eminem said Millie Rabbit You just can't fit Kevin said About mental torture
to the bathroom because it's a beautiful spot without anyone interrupting him. Now, when someone else starts using his toilet, it becomes an entire episode of fighting over it. And that's before Rick takes things too far and ends up tasting his own medicine.
There he is! There's our guy! Congrats, Tony! Have fun with your stupid toilet that you get to use all by yourself now!
Well, this hilarious and depressing moment is of course referenced on Fortnite Chapter 6's map, where you can find a similar toilet overlooking the sea. One of the most detailed crossovers recently has been Star Wars with a samurai twist, finally giving players the chance to buy Darth Vader from the shop. He looked amazing with the new samurai armor and still pretty faithful to the original design, and well, you might be surprised to find out there's a reason for that. It turns out his costume was originally based on samurai armor. From the iconic helmet to his robes, they're all inspired by a Japanese warrior, just painted black. Now, if you were ever struck by the power of Zeus's thunderbolt during Myths and Mortals, you'll know it was pretty overwhelming. You panic, run away, try to defend ourselves, but look back on this in slow motion and you'll see Fortnite added the craziest detail. When you got electrocuted, you could see your character's skeleton. The first time in Fortnite history Epic did this, and it was only for a split second. It's almost as crazy as the attention to detail in Chapter 6's map. Fans noticed this artwork showing 3 women with modern clothing, and they're all doing these really distinctive poses. Well, this is actually a real photo from the early 20th century symbolizing the 3 wise monkeys. You know, see no evil, hear no evil, and speak no evil. But this time, with Hope's remix graffiti on top, it turned this from a traditional painting into modern street art with baseball caps and cat whiskers. One of the most popular additions to the Icon series lately is none other than Messi himself. Players have been begging for more legendary players to be added, and even he knows it. The emote isn't only calling him the GOAT, but it's also a hidden reference to an old video. Play it normally, and it sounds like this. But pair it with the skin, and it sounds different. A great reference to a clip from real life where Messi himself did the same thing. Messi. Now, we all know how Fortnite referenced Doom's hate for the Fantastic Four by displaying their bodies pretty much all around his castle, but his hate for Reed went just a bit further. In his study room, you can spot a dartboard with his face pinned on with an axe. Still not as much as Epic hates glitches. Did you know you could literally equip a default skin in LEGO mode, and since they hadn't finished working on a new style, when you switch back to normal, your character will be completely untextured. It basically became the new superhero skin for a few weeks. When Fallout was introduced to the game, we didn't just get cosmetics, but even items. One of them was the Nuka-Cola, which basically worked like Slurp with one extra secret. Every time you popped it open, you would keep the bottle cap in your pocket. It's a great reference to them being currency in the games, and you even got 1 gold in exchange for it. Fortnite loves Easter eggs like this, and they're even better when they're a part of the map. At Foxy Floodgate, players noticed a mysterious basketball all the way at the top of the dam. But look down, and you spot a net below. It seemed like a great opportunity to score a hoop, and it's even a tribute to Dude Perfect's crazy trick shots and also some other random YouTube videos. Not the only thing you could spot on the Chapter 6 map, the center of the island had a no dancing sign. Nothing new for Fortnite, but this time something was different. If you approached it and disobeyed the warning, you would be sent off the cliff by the Coral Buddies. Now, for a season that's all about Japanese mythology, Epic got one thing wrong. Players noticed that the katanas on various skins were not only on the wrong side of their hip, but also completely upside down. Typically, katanas are sheathed so that the bend in the blade points towards the ground, but on almost every skin, they're facing up. One thing they get right though is movie references, especially if there's an official collab. Anyone who's seen the Big Hero 6 film would know the perfect emote to make, and Fortnite stepped up to deliver. Even their own cosmetics get great attention, because the latest remix outfits have been perfectly tied to the originals in the coolest way. As you look through the OG pass for Season 2, it's obvious that the skins are new versions of Black Knight and Cuddle Team Leader. But that's not all. Their second styles are also a great homage. The white style is based on bundles, and the gold style is based on Ultima Knight, basically giving you 2 remixes in one. Not the only time Fortnite honored their old characters. In early Chapter 1, players would try to make their own collabs with what we had. For example, a budget Deadpool using Hybrid's Red Ninja style. So, when Deadpool finally dropped in the game for real, they paid tribute to it, with his loading screen featuring a picture of him taped to his bedroom wall. Another great callback was the brand new shield. The original Black Knight just wore one with a painted dragon on it. Pretty cool, but they had to improve it for remix. So now, the brand new version has an actual dragon built into his shield breathing fire. It is so awesome. Now, I've already gone over a handful of Easter eggs in the Pirates of the Caribbean collab, but there's one more I just couldn't leave out. Jack's run emote is a hilarious reference to one of the most famous moments in the films, and Epic didn't just leave it there. Watch the full trailer and you'll see they even recreated the entire scene. Now, you'll know that Marvel Rivals had a crossover with Fortnite at release, giving us some cosmetics straight from the game, including a pink glider and a pickaxe. Well, both of these are based on Galacta, daughter of Galactus and the mascot of Rivals, which makes sense, but what doesn't is when it came to the skin, we got Doom 2099 instead. Back in 2023, when the first Fortnite OG dropped, they made a 200 IQ teaser by remaking the first ever loading screen, but with a flip perspective. Pretty smart, and they did it again in 2024 with the release of the permanent mode, this time remaking the supply drop battle from Season 1. Now, the tradition is continuing, with Season 2's artwork a reimagined version of the first drop into Tilted. Now, Myths and Mortals was a crazy season when it comes.
Welcome to Wix Harmony. Take the speed of AI and pixel level control to go from words into a full website that's entirely yours to shape. Need a new page, section, or a restyle? Ask Aria, your personal AI agent. And boom, there it is. Flow naturally between generating and doing it yourself. This is the new way to create Wix Harmony.
With AI Extend, those almost moments find their perfect continuation. The shot keeps flying, and the energy never breaks. You stay in motion, and AI ensures every frame aligns with your vision. This is Wondershare Filmora, powered by AI. Edit as an expert.
Comes to map changes, but sometimes it's the little details that make it even better. At the top of Mount Olympus was a huge mural to the gods, but one person felt a little out of place: Peely. It's even crazier when Epic works these little secrets into the weapons we hold. For example, take the Oni shotgun that dropped in Chapter 6 and look at it from above. Yeah, the entire shotgun has an Oni mask worked into the design. Star Wars is a collab that everyone likes to see return each year, but when Fortnite introduced Chewbacca into the mix, there was a secret a lot of you missed. Once he was rescued and recruited to your team, anytime you wiped out an enemy, he would celebrate with his iconic roar. Kendo is a part of the first pass from Chapter 6, but what a lot of players didn't spot was a hidden reference with his second style. The name says it's just a racer suit, but the entire design is inspired directly by the bride from Kill Bill. Did you know that Fortnite once failed to deliver on a promised feature? Let me explain. In the average scene in real life for the new Vader, his katana could be seen glowing, making it even closer to our first lightsaber pickaxe. So, when it finally dropped, players rushed to pick it up, only to find there was not only no glow, but it wasn't even reactive. Thankfully, Snoop Dogg's outfit was perfect. It was completely free to claim for Winterfest 2024, giving you the Santa Dog skin, but his whole set is a reference to his real-life products, Snoop on a Stoop, his own take on Elf on a Shelf. And if you purchase the starter pack for Chapter 6, you'll have got Dark Doggo and some V-Bucks, but don't ignore his pickaxe. This isn't just a reskinned bone like the rest of the set. Instead, Epic made a brand new one, and it's a dog toy from real life, perfect for Doggo. One of the coolest fun facts appeared at Doom Castle during the second Marvel season. You could spot statues of a Doom guard and a dog holding tennis balls. It seemed really random, but that's until you realize it's a genius way of Fortnite roasting themselves. In Season 2, there was a quest asking us to find dog toys for Cerberus, and immediately, well, everyone made fun of it. It was so ridiculous that Epic clearly took the jokes to heart, putting a tennis ball in the dog's mouth as a permanent reminder. Thanks to the Battle Pass, we all got to unlock 4 free emotes. Each of them contains references to characters from the show, like foot soldiers, Mousers, and even parts of Metalhead. Epic honestly put a ton of effort into the collab, and that's why there's even more Easter eggs with the NPCs. If you went up to Splinter as each of the skins, he would have unique responses which are all directly from the shows.
Anger is self-destructive.
I always thought it was others destructive.
Raphael! We must fall many times before we learn to stand.
Then why did you make me leader?
Because you asked
Not the only awesome crossover we got with Chapter 5, because Family Guy also came with a giant chicken. If you use this punching bag emote, not only will you hear Peter's laugh, but it'll change each time you use it. One of the best Easter eggs in Chapter 5 has got to be the community graves. Every time someone gets a viral clip, the devs take notice and put a memorial on the map. This time a player managed to crash their car between two trees getting stuck, and now it's immortalized here forever. So is an emote that references a show that's blowing up right now. When Reaper's Showtime came out, players were shocked to recognize the music. It's actually a fan song about Has-Been Hotel, and even the scythe is based around the character. If you land at Grand Glacier, you can now find the most hilarious chest ever. There's giant bushes shaped like a deer, but look behind it and who did this? This ain't no accident. When we asked Fortnite to explain themselves, they replied saying, it'd be a pain in the butt. And if you own John Wick's official skin, you're lucky to get 2 secret edit styles with the new season. These didn't just change his hair and clothes, they also cut off his fingers. Spoiler alert, he has to chop it off in the 3rd film, and they carried the detail over to his new styles in Fortnite. And that's not the only great reference in Chapter 5, because the Family Guy set is full of them. From the iconic Peter Copter to the wacky waivers, but my personal favorite is the Scratcher. We all know what it's for.
Here's your butt scratcher here, butt scratcher!
If you've been playing the LEGO mode, you'll know the insane amount of dialogue there is with hundreds of NPCs. In fact, there's 50,000 lines of dialogue. And if you have Aura, she might say she gets so mad, she wants to flip an entire island upside down. If you know, you know. It doesn't stop there. Speak with Meowscles, and there's a small chance to tell you how he's nervous about anything shaped like a cube. I think we all know what he's referring to. With the new jam tracks, there's tons of new songs coming to the game every week, but one of them might be familiar than the rest. You can now catch Belle Biv DeVoe on rotation in the shop, and this is actually the music that Turk dances to in Scrubs. Recognize it? Yes, it is the iconic default dance, and now we can finally recreate it entirely in-game.
The FIFA World Cup 2026 is here, so we challenge artists from all around the world to show what they've got. To come to Mexico City and represent your country with the most epic pieces of art possible.
Every artist used the Lenovo Yoga Pro 9i Aura Edition Imagine with Intel.
The Intel Core Ultra processor goes crazy, everything ran super smooth.
I felt a lot of pressure making this piece because I knew we would reveal it in front of everyone. All of them
used the Lenovo Yoga Pro to supercharge their creativity.
I just saw something viral. PlayStation.
But one thing has taken the community by storm after it was discovered hiding on the Chapter 5 map. In the north, you can find Cloister Castle secluded on a rock, but this place has way more than you can imagine. On the top floor, you can find Midas's office chair straight from his room in Chapter 2. It's looking out over the island, leaving many people wondering if he's returned. And if you're skeptical, that's not the only evidence pointing towards Midas coming back. Over at Grand Glacier, check out the elevator. Sure, it doesn't work, but it does have the same doors as the agency. We first saw these in the top secret trailer, and they were never used in the game until today, so something's definitely going on here. If you ever found the Peter Griffin boss and wondered why he wasn't wearing his iconic clothes, it's actually a real outfit from the show. In the Lottery Fever episode, the Griffins win $150 million, and of course, Peter spends half of it on a solid gold tuxedo. And that's not the only crazy detail at the train stations, each of them has their own language. Because the map is inspired by parts of Europe, you can find French, German, Greek, and Italian areas split across the island. So when you visit one station, the announcements can be in French and the next in Greek, no matter what your language is set to. If you head over to the northeast corner of the map, you can find a bunch of wind turbines and a small oil platform. Obviously, a great callback to the rig from Chapter 2, but after some exploring inside, you can find TNTina's helmet resting on a chair. There's even a reference to the Imagined Order hidden away in LEGO FORTNITE. When exploring your world, you can find randomly generated structures like villages, caves, or broken down houses, but one of them is insanely rare to find, the IO Bunker. It's the classic hatch from Chapter 1 and 2, and now people people are starting to discover them in LEGO. There's also some secrets in Fortnite Festival. Load into the main stage, and before you cue your songs, take a second to explore the theater cause there is an evil plot hiding behind you. Head up into the left stands, and you can find a bird and cat plushie who are planning to kill someone. Yeah, definitely creepy. If you find yourself at a society POI with some time before the storm closes, take a look at the paintings around the place. There's Princess Fishstick's homeworld, a bunch of Fortnite fish in a barrel, and even a picture of ruined reels before it was ruined, giving us a glimpse at a POI we'll probably never get to see. Snooty Steps is home to Peter Griffin, and there are plenty of hilarious secrets because of that. The first one is outside where you'll find this flag, and honestly it should be the official flag of Chapter 5. But the best Easter egg is in the town where the fountain is Peter Griffin as an angel. What is going on? When I first heard about the Grand Glacier, it sounded way too familiar. Creepy hotel, abandoned in the snowy mountains, reminds me of the Overlook from The Shining. Well, I guess the developers also thought that, because if you head into the hotel's maze, you'll find a statue buried in snow with an axe next to him. Yeah, it's a family-friendly version of The Shining's ending, where Jack freezes to death in the maze while holding his axe. For an Easter egg a little less freaky, head south of the map where you'll find an island that creates a love heart bridge. It's adorable, but also sets the scene for a perfect wedding venue, and that's exactly what the stone frogs are looking for. Just across, you can find a wedding ceremony happening between two frogs in love, and all I'm saying is, we need more wholesome secrets. Now, one of the longest running gags has been the lack of Family Guy in Fortnite. And 2 years ago, this image was leaked showing an entire scene from the show with the blood cut out. It definitely wasn't a troll because there was too much effort, and yet, time passed with no news. After so long, we all gave up, but now that Chapter 5 dropped Peter, Epic made sure to troll us one last time with that same secret backlink playing the scene from all of those years ago. Things get real sinister when you think of Peely, as we learned in the Big Bang event, he is currently missing from the poster. A major part of Season 1's story was how Peely got kidnapped and Jones is on a mission to save him. His captors weren't messing around. If you landed at various POIs, you could find secret rooms that had his banana peel in a chair. Looks like they held him hostage here before moving on, which is a little messed up for Fortnite, sheesh. And it didn't stop there. If you tried to equip Peely during the season, his icon was secretly updated. Right there in the locker, his missing poster appears, the first time they've ever done this for the story. And if you're ever playing LEGO with a friend, when they decide to leave the lobby, and it even plays the classic LEGO death sound. One of my favorite secrets though is hiding in plain sight. On the first page of the Season 1 Battle Pass, you can find this banner. Belongs to Hope and seems like a regular old cat, right? Well, it's actually a reference to this iconic meme from last year. Not the only adorable creature hidden in Chapter 5. As you explore the island, you might come across the return of Coral Buddies. They've taken the game by storm over the last few years and are here once again to entertain us. In fact, the Islanders love them so much, they even made a movie. At Ruin Reels, you'll find this poster for Revenge of the Coral Buddies. Now that is a film I'm gonna see. Not the only cool detail hidden around the map. There's one house full of Easter eggs. In the very north of the island, there's a house called Cloister Castle. Seems pretty creepy, but head inside and you'll find the home of a Chapter 4 enthusiast. The whole place is filled with memorabilia like Split's bowl, gongs, and even the Peace Syndicate's arcade machine. Keep exploring into the fields and you'll probably find one of these windmills. They were added with Chapter 5, but there's a hidden joke if you find them all. The first one is called the Old Mill, pretty normal until you find the other windmill. Alright, I guess they couldn't think of another name, but just wait until you find the other windmill. One place you won't get much loot is at Meows's RV. Sure, it's a blank spot, but it's definitely worth checking out if you're a fan because it's actually the same RV from Chapter 4. He officially made it onto the new map. And this wouldn't be a secrets video if I didn't bring up the best Easter egg of all. When you eliminate Peter Griffin, he pulls off the funniest death animation in Fortnite history. When we finally got the return of OG Fortnite, players were excited to uncover the game's longest running mystery. In the shipping container yard, players broke a storage unit only to find a suitcase hidden inside. This thing was indestructible, and when they got a closer look, it showed a tiny factory making bushes. Since its discovery, this has been the longest unanswered question of Fortnite, and even after coming back, it has given us no answers. 4 years ago, you could originally find a fish on the wall, which looked like a big mouth Billy Bass from the early 2000s. If you emoted in front of it, the sign would start dancing just like the real thing.
Imagine being able to build anything. just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform made for anyone with an idea and a drive to bring it to life. Describe what you want and watch it take shape. You can plan, customize, and expand in any direction. From tools built for one to platforms ready for many. From passion projects to enterprise-grade systems. Everything is built in and ready to launch. It's a new world of creation where you can go as far as your imagination takes you. Can you imagine it? Let's make your dream a reality right now.
Not the only POI to hold a secret, Risky Reels has a lengthy history from impossible challenges to becoming the block. But before all of that, it had an incredible Easter egg on the sign. No one really paid attention to this thing despite the fact Epic changed it every update. They would throw fake movie titles on here and parody real films like Cabin in the Woods or The Hills Are Haunted. Around the OG map, small huts appeared one by one, made out of wood, brick, and eventually metal. As you know, the story goes that the three little pigs built their houses in a similar fashion, but you would never consider a simple hut like this to be a reference. The best food truck though was FORTNITE, a van that no one paid attention to back in the day. It was an on-the-nose joke about the name of the game, and people loved it so much, it even turned into a secret POI. Over near Fatal Fields, you can find this mine in the ground, and looking at it from a top-down view, it was a fork and a knife. And a cave that lasted even longer was there since the start, except this design was a victory umbrella, but still not as forgotten as Lonely Lodge's resident. If you went to one of the lookout towers, you would start to find chicken feathers at the top. Pretty weird until you entered and found even more clues. Feathers, drumsticks, and a radio. When we figured out who lives here, it was the last person you'd expect to be eating chicken. That's right, Tender Defender. This guy lived at Lonely Lodge, and he's some kind of freak, I guess. But still won't explain the terrifying mystery of Wailing Wood's basement. Hiding in the deepest floors of this POI, you could find a single teddy bear alone in a room. Nothing to keep him company except his own reflection in the mirror. Probably the creepiest thing you could do with a teddy bear, yet here it was. Well, actually forget that. This is the creepiest thing you could do.
Hey, what happened?
And that wasn't the first time we were haunted by an Easter egg. In the early days, some players walked up to a television only for it to show a dancing monster from Save the World. Okay, they need to bring this back. It's an iconic secret. At least we can explain the mystery behind this huge troll. One of the first times Epic ever pranked us was with a truck hanging off the map. On the trailer, you'll be tempted by a chest, but the second you opened it, the loot would fall off the map, and most of the time, you would too. Pretty funny way to troll people, but they also did it in style, as this was a reference to the Italian Job. There's also a reference which barely anyone picked up on. Around the island, some houses had a milk carton in the kitchen. Obviously, you'd expect that, but this innocent-looking carton was hiding a secret in plain sight. This design is inspired by a music video. It's almost a one-to-one copy of the box from Blur's Coffee and TV. They eventually turned it into a back bling and put Agent Jones as missing on the side. Not the only classic to be referenced. 18 years earlier, the movie Castaway dropped, and the devs must have loved it because they put this onto a tiny island in Lazy Lagoon. The rock spelled out SOS with a soccer ball lurking nearby, a simple but amazing homage to the help in the sand, along with Wilson, Tom Hanks' friend that's actually a ball. Speaking of movie legends, Stan Lee passed away just before the return of Fortnite X Avengers, and they had to pay tribute to him. So naturally, they added secret dialogue when you won the endgame LTM, showing you his catchphrase, Excelsior. Now, would it be Fortnite's best Easter eggs unless I brought up gnomes? Of course, they were everywhere. You could probably make an entire video just on these guys, but I'm gonna highlight one location that puzzled everyone. There's a random hut on the map guarded by gnomes, and if you broke in, you'd find them surrounding loot, probably the most unsettling chest I've ever opened. And there's an Easter egg that puzzles players to this day. Shifty Shafts is known as a beloved POI that mostly consisted of, well, mine shafts. Kinda all there was to it, except for one day when the secret streamer room appeared. Suddenly an area is filled with a green screen, a whole desk setup, and cameras. It was extremely random, with some people thinking this was referencing a streamer or a talk show host. Some references are more obvious than others, like the oldest Easter egg in Fortnite. Over time, you've been able to find countless outhouses with a moon symbol on the door. That's right, it's the bathroom from Shrek. Something that put a smile on our face was whenever we dropped at these structures. To date, they are some of the only POIs to be made entirely of builds, and you can find animals like a fox, a crab, even a llama. You could edit these too, so defending yourself was extremely fun. In 2019, we got the Pump It Up emote. you might not get this reference until it's compared to the iconic video of the Dancing Pumpkin Man from 2006. Ironically, he gave them permission to make this emote, but then threatened to sue Epic anyway when they added it. A couple years before that, we had the first ever FORTNITE, which not only brought Skull Trooper to the game, but secretly gave us crossovers they weren't allowed to do. We got Beetlejuice, who has gone entirely under the radar for years as an unofficial Beetlejuice skin. Not to mention Kyle the 13th, one of the only references to Jason Voorhees in the shop. Hopefully these come to Battle Royale in the
If we bait them into these positions first,
We can drive them out. Gain the angle. I'll clear the path. Adieu.
Clean!
There's also the distribution center. All those corners.
Plenty of opportunities for surprises.
Let's push them out. I see you.
Welcome to the new generation of web creation, where your vision and technology works as one, so you can create the way you think. Wix.
future, but they're probably waiting to do an official collab. In FORTNITE 2022, everyone was so distracted by the Inquisitor that no one cared to stop at the graveyards. Yeah, across the map you can find these tombstones all over the place, and they were full of secrets, like one being available for sublet, contact Grisabelle, while others were definitely not a secret apocalypse bunker. Although there were some gravestones that told us who was buried there, like Meowscles, who was on his 3rd life out of 9. Someone also forgot to thank the bus drivers, so did he murder them? I'm not risking it from now on. Now there's a detail that literally no one's talking about. In 2020, we got the Ghostbusters collab for Halloween, and everyone let out a sigh when they realized it was just default skins. Except, when you look closely, they have an insane detail included, which starts with the male versions. On their belt, you can see an old walkie-talkie from the 80s, and that makes sense. Ghostbusters is a pretty old film and they use dated tech. We'll take a look at the female outfits, and they're not using walkie-talkies at all. They have newer tech because the Ghostbusters remake is set during the modern day. That cast was made up of actors from SNL, and it's not the only time they've been referenced in FORTNITE. In 2016, they made a sketch with Tom Hanks where he dressed in a pumpkin suit.
What's my name?
David S. Pumpkins!
Eventually, Skull Trooper was compared to the skeletons from the SNL skit, and it looks like FORTNITE went along with it, because a year later, they dropped Jack Gordon, an obvious reference to David S. Pumpkins. Anyway, let's take it back to 2019, where we were all enjoying FORTNITE mares and fighting the Storm King. For Save the World players, though, they had been fighting him for years and got their own update instead. This included a brand new hotel to explore, and as they entered the building, they found... yeah, look familiar to anyone? Pay attention to the carpet, it is very close to the iconic design of the carpet from The Shining. The Overlook Hotel is known for this pattern, but more importantly, look further down the hallway and you'll see 2 gnomes staring right back at you. Of course, they're meant to be the creepy twins from the movie. Not every Easter egg is in game though. One of the greatest references is in an episode of South Park from 2018. All the kids had to choose Halloween costumes and showed up to class like this. You don't gotta pay close attention to realize every single one of them is wearing, you guessed it, a FORTNITE skin. But it's what happened after the episode aired. South Park themselves posted a photo of all of the outfits and their concept art. Isn't this incredible? I never thought I'd see the day Kenny was dressed as Raven or Stan became Leviathan. And I also didn't realize that we've had a Michael Jackson emote in the game for years and never knew about it. FORTNITE dropped the reanimated dance in 2018, and it's quickly become one of the most popular emotes out there. I always bring it back to the store. However, if you look beyond the flashy music, the dance itself is really familiar. That's because this is taken from Thriller by Michael Jackson. Putting them side by side, it's obvious where the inspiration lies. Now, it's not an exact copy, it makes sense, but there's always room for an icon series down the line. Ash Williams was a cool addition though, and he arrived on the island with his very own cabin from the Evil Dead franchise. This thing was jam-packed full of Easter eggs, from Ash's chainsaw in the shed to the cellar he locked his sister in. I love finding the Necronomicon, but the greatest secret of all, the iconic talking moose. Another official collab was a year prior, when FORTNITE dropped The Mummy and Frankenstein's monster. On the surface, this was just a simple Halloween crossover, but they actually went all out for this. These 2 characters have been around for a long time, and if you equip their edit style, styles, you'll see a unique effect that could only be found on these skins. It's a vintage film effect that's both a throwback and a secret that went totally under the radar. Honestly, I want more skins with vintage stuff like this. But now I gotta mention the most famous Halloween Easter egg in Fortnite history, and how they expanded it without anyone realizing. I feel like everyone remembers when balloons appeared above storm drains in 2019. It broke the internet with every player desperate to see Pennywise in the game, but of course, it never happened and we all kinda moved on. Well, that's until a year later when they updated the Easter eggs with a new edit style for Night Knight. These clown skins used to be super colorful, and then the Night Fright style dropped, making them look suspiciously similar to Pennywise. Another outfit that was way too similar is Big Mouth. On the surface, this guy is super original, but he had an alternate version that was poisonous. When people earned it, they would be given the skin with the Marvel Series tag added. It was only for this style and left a ton of people confused, but there is an explanation for this. It's a reference to Carnum, a Marvel character who's a fusion of Venom and Carnage, which explains the huge tongue. Whether it's supposed to be a collab and fell through, we'll never know. But we do know about the secret vehicle at Camp COD. Turns out technology wasn't the only detail in the Ghostbusters event. Over at this POI, you can find a car covered in a sheet, and of course, it's easily identifiable. This is Ecto-1, the iconic Ghostbusters vehicle, and while it's never drivable, the barn has the word dirt written on the side, just like the shed from the movie. It's about as obvious as the time players found this hockey mask shrine and saved the world. One look at this and you can immediately tell who it belongs to. So yeah, if Kyle the 13th wasn't enough, Epic are taking their Jason Voorhees appreciation to the next level with an entire shrine dedicated to him. In 2018, they updated Fatal Fields with an entirely new design. It was converted into a Halloween theme park. It featured a pumpkin maze, haunted house roller coaster, and food trucks for hungry visitors. For Season 6, the entire battle pass is themed around cubes and Halloween, giving us Fable, an obvious knockoff of Red Riding Hood. And most of us know about this. She is clearly supposed to be from the fairy tale, except you have to look deeper to realize that Fortnite made it 10 times scarier. Fable isn't running from a big bad wolf, in this case Dyer, instead she's chasing him. Eventually she hunts him down and cuts his tail off, which you can see on her belt. Then look at her glider, and she turns it into an apple pie for her grandma. So many people own Fable and have no idea how terrifying she is. But there's some other Halloween outfits which are based on urban legends and no one realizes. Hollowhead might just look like a dude with a pumpkin head, but he is meant to represent the Headless Horseman. Same goes for the Baba Yaga, an old woman on the surface, but she's based on a Slavic folktale of a witch who cooks and eats people, even children. Kinda makes this skin a little more creepy. And of course, you can't ignore the Good Doctor, who is clearly inspired by Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. The edit style's even named Hyde. A terrifying Easter egg that no one was expecting was in the early days of Chapter 1. Harvick wasn't expecting a simple teddy bear in the corner to stalk him.
What? I found an Easter egg.
What was it?
Wait, what?
And that feeling of being watched extends to the Fortnitemares lobby from 2018. If you look closely in the window, you can see a mystery character watching you, which could be a reference to Michael Myers. He's literally known for stalking people through the window, and it's become a horror trope all because of him. And I'll say this, make sure you don't bring Coral Buddies along if you watch a spooky movie. At the start of Midas's Revenge, you can pause for a few seconds and see this warning on the trailer. Zoom in on the small print, and it says the event may not be suitable for Coral Buddies. I guess they're not old enough yet to watch horror films. If you prefer to encounter your own horrifying experience, players in Camp COD had a chance to be jump scared. Back in Chapter 2, you could just be minding your own business until suddenly a ghost flies out of a grave. Yeah, this was an insanely rare Easter egg, so hardly anyone got to see it. But there is another Easter egg that vanished without anyone realizing. One of the coolest secrets in Fortnite has always revolved around the TAC shotgun. Since the very first season, if you look closely enough, you could spot a hidden minigame on the screen. By now, everyone knows about this, but not many realize it's been deleted. With the TAC's redesign in Chapter 2, they completely changed the screen, leaving this Easter egg behind. A pretty unfortunate side effect of the new graphics. Yet one of the strangest secrets we have ever had in Fortnite is Indiana Jones's head. Once it came out, people went into replay mode and looked under his hat, only to find a message for Lamb and Finn from their dad. It was meant to be a wholesome tribute, but apparently Epic didn't agree because they just deleted it from the game. But I just can't explain why Epic removed a reference to one of the biggest franchises. In Chapter 3, the beach was suddenly updated with a sandcastle. Obviously, this looks like any generic castle, until fans noticed that it was strikingly similar to Helm's Deep from Lord of the Rings. At the same time, anyone playing on Switch could see extra details that made this theory way too convincing. And the cherry on top, the Lord of the Rings TV show was days from releasing. People waited and nothing happened. Then, the sandcastle was mysteriously removed, so thanks for trolling us, Epic. But we can all agree that Fish Stick's song was a bad idea. In Season 2, if you listen to the Fishy Flourish emote, it said, But it wasn't always like this. In fact, if you use this just a week before, the lyrics were completely different. Yeah, I wasn't expecting Fish Stick to be R-rated, and Fortnite was embarrassed. I gotta say, how did they write this, record it, and turn it into an emote before realizing? But Epic banned an outfit with an amazing reference right before anyone could realize. When Imposters Mode released, it kind of broke the internet. Among Us and Fortnite combined, it was a recipe for success, and they knew it. It was a love letter to the OG fans, with Easter eggs all over the map, like Kevin the Cube and the Zapatron. But one of the coolest parts was in the files, a bunch of Jonesies with different suits. Originally, they were going to be mandatory, and obviously a reference to Among Us crewmates with all the different colors. Only one problem, Agent Jones is a Battle Pass skin, so that was never going to happen.
We have a fix.
Sound off with a voice that matches your main, or assemble and deploy your best audio memes with the perfect timing. Whether you want to speak with a realistic
Battlefield radio voice,
or clear up your comms with the voice enhancer, our app works with any gamer app that supports voice chat. Download VoiceMod and become whoever you want.
You know how the story goes with the removal of imposters? There's no chance of us ever wearing this outfit again. But one of the craziest hidden rooms to ever exist wasn't even on the map. In Chapter 2, they added a location that could only be accessed on Spawn Island. You had to enter a building and force your way down the elevator to find secret ghost and shadow facilities. Not only was this hard to find, but you only had a small amount of time to check it out before the bus left. My favorite secret rooms are the ones that reward you for finding them, and Shuffled Shrines absolutely nails this. It started off as a regular puzzle where you'd have to outrun a boulder and discover loot, but no one told us about the extra room that could only be found by emoting. Yeah, once you dance, it would reward you with an exclusive Indiana Jones emote. But if we're talking about one of the first ever hidden rooms in Battle Royale, let's take it back to Pleasant Park. It's a classic POI, and no one expected this boring house to hold such a cool secret. There's a small hole under the stairs, and if you followed it and broke this wall, it would reveal a huge emergency bunker with CCTV cameras, lab equipment, and a ton of loot. But the most underrated POI of Chapter 2 was the Shadow Safe House. Well, it started off that way, but over time, Fortnite kept changing it to become its own radio station with a recording studio downstairs. Eventually, the gnomes took control and began making music, which was pretty strange, but nothing compares to the final update, which confused everyone. Out of nowhere, the POI was changed again with more stairs that could lead you further down. Break a few walls and you would find a storage room. Kinda cool, I guess, until you walked up to the bookcase and opened it, revealing this. I don't know what kind of files are in the cabinet, but they must have been important. It makes you wonder, what actually is the first secret room in Battle Royale? Well, it all revolves around this tunnel from Chapter 1. I totally forgot about this place, but man, it brings back memories. Anyway, if you dare to stick around in this dark tunnel, you can break one of the walls and discover a hidden area. Add 2 chests and an ammo box, which is a fitting reward for anyone who found it. But I personally love this secret from Weeping Woods in Chapter 2. Epic loves to put hints in trailers, and for the spy season, they showed Agent Peely dressing up behind a bookshelf. This was under the agency, but it was a clue telling us to check the bookcases around the map. In Weeping Woods, this let us find an underground facility that was revealed as the Teddy Bear headquarters. They were hosting a meeting, probably discussing what to do with the gnome prisoner around the corner. The fact that thousands of people walk past us not knowing the bookcase could open is insane. Sadly, Deadpool wasn't in there holding tuxedos, but you could find a hideout that belonged to him. This area was only able to be found in the lobby. You had to click on a vent and it would lead you to his bathroom. If you went even further and found his PC, they'd let you play a mini game on it where you had to go skiing with evil Peelys chasing you. Not every basement is terrifying though. Fortnite once secretly added a replica of a TV show onto the map. Chapter 4 celebrated the release of Eren Yeager with his family basement. You can find this in Anvil Square, and it was full of references to the anime, from Grisha's desk to the infamous Notebook. Only veteran players will know about this area from Season 9. A huge mansion was added in the middle of the desert, replacing an abandoned building. There were so many rooms in here, and if you went into the basement, you would find a hole in the ground with 3 chests inside. It seems a little random, but fans of John Wick will know exactly what this is referencing. Now, there's obviously a lot of gnome Easter eggs in this game, but no one really remembers the room at Hydro 16. It went under the radar for a ton of players and was discovered when breaking this wall next to the staircase. Inside, there was a gnome being flushed down a golden toilet, and whether this is some kind of ritual or they really wanted to get rid of this guy, we'll never know. Some people think it was a reference to Midas, but we haven't seen him for years, unlike his crew. Turns out in Chapter 3, the vents of Covert Cavern were full of secret areas. If you follow one route, it would lead you to a tiny room with darts, a planning board, and a beanbag. This could only belong to one person, Sky, and if you kept traveling through the vent system, you'd also find her gaming setup with a PC and a mini fridge. Speaking of tech, there was a random update in the middle of Chapter 1 which affected this house in Retail Row. For some reason, now a satellite could be seen outside the garage, hinting at something more. If you were curious and walked inside, you could look underneath the car and see a hole. Immediately, there's a CCTV camera on this door, so clearly someone doesn't want you here, and upon entering, you can see why. This is basically another house full of equipment, exercise machines, and storage. But my favorite detail is the stack of dog houses in the corner. Every time a player broke them outside for loot, this guy had to come out of the basement and replace it with a new one. You gotta love when Fortnite breaks the fourth wall, which reminds me of the Steamy Stacks bunker in Chapter 2. This was a total misdirection. People found a secret staircase that led to an empty room, and sometimes there'd be a chest, and that was it. Or so we thought. If you destroyed yet another wall, music would begin to play. This is the algorithm from Tenet. At the end of the movie, they hide the pieces of it across the world, and one of them found its way to Fortnite. Another movie Easter egg could be found during the Marvel season. For months, the starter island was the MCU helicarrier, and this was full of details like Nick Fury's eye patch. But the strangest was this locked vault in the bridge. It's a starter island, so obviously you couldn't find a key card for it, and people tried to bring them over from the main map only for it to stay locked. It was the biggest mystery of the season until one day players figured out how to break inside. They drove a boat all the way up here and used a glitch to teleport through the wall, only for the vault to be completely empty. From confusing everyone to being humiliated, Fortnite once added a room that
The way I see it, no one is just one thing. We all have two modes, right? One that's playful, imaginative, and likes to see ideas come to life, and another that likes to lock in with the project and the brief and be all about the business. Both of them are brilliant, both of them are necessary. And like me, the best things happen when the two exist together in one place. Like my Windows PC.
Backfired. They spent weeks planning this, adding a cave entrance that was blocked by a huge rock. Our challenge was to team up and destroy it to reveal the cave, and with 5 trillion HP, we had our work cut out for us. Well, that's until someone used a cow catcher, which annihilated the rock within seconds, revealing the lonely henchman trapped inside. A few seasons earlier, we had Stark Industries on the map, and one of the most underrated parts was Iron Man's house by the lake. Yeah, that one. Fortnite went even further with this by adding a secret underground complex with all of Tony Stark's gear, even the Iron Man suit. Kinda reminds me of Lazy Lake's Anomaly Basement. This was a room that seemed innocent, but had a secret challenge that would give you loot. At the middle table, you could activate jewels in a certain order, and a rift would appear. You'd use this to unlock an edit style for Agent Jones, but it was also full of details that belonged to Midas. The best part, this basement was connected to a similar one across the way, allowing you to use this as an underground passage between the two. Something else you might not remember was in the Snowy Island in Chapter 1. Just off the coast, there was an ice block which had 5 billion health. As usual, we worked together as a community to break this, no cow catchers needed. People theorized what could be under here, another frozen monster, some loot, maybe a mythic, only for the health to reach 0 and disappoint everyone. Hold on. Is it just a bunker? When Doggo was backed against the wall in the Resident Evil trailer, we were all distracted by the zombie outside, but look closely and you'll see the typewriter from the Resident Evil games. Use these to save your progress, and that's exactly what it says right on the paper. And in the cinematic for Wilds, the characters get surrounded by velociraptors. This is of course a subtle reference to Jurassic Park, where they also get trapped in the jungle. One of the coolest secrets was in the reveal for Morty. If you're wondering why X-Lord is in here, this is a 1-to-1 recreation of a loading screen from Season X. Well, instead of those terrifying mechs, it's just Morty. Not only was this a nod to Chapter 1, Fortnite was also teasing the return of Brutes, who came back the next season. Not the only time they foreshadowed something. In the trailer for Mega, you can watch people dive off a skyscraper and just swing around. We got even more suspicious when it had similar music to the Leap of Faith scene from Into the Spider-Verse. And of course, those suspicions were confirmed as Miles Morales released with the trailer perfecting the scene. One of my personal favorite secrets is when the alien invasion happened. They cut to Superman, who's surprised by the news, but if you look on his work computer, he's playing Fortnite as Batman. A movie reference no one talks about involved Wendell and Walnut. These guys went under the radar and even had their own short film to go with the set. If you watched it, you still wouldn't realize there's a hidden tribute to Over the Hedge. The heist is extremely similar to the barbecue scene, and even the yard looks identical. But one of the most underrated secrets is hiding in the Spy Season's Battle Pass trailer. As they break down each character, they get to Meowscles, and for a split second, you can see his age on the screen. Yeah, he is 6 years old in cat years, but what does that actually mean? Well, if you convert that to humans, he was 40 years old at the time, maybe 43 now, and I'd say he looks pretty good for his age. Moving forward to Chapter 3, this was the time we got Destiny skins in Fortnite. People love this, especially when the trailer dropped, paying homage to an incredible secret. They all stand outside a cave and blast the enemies, causing piles upon piles of loot to spawn. This was actually possible in Destiny 1, where you could find a specific loot cave that everyone went to, and after clearing it, there were a ton of engrams to collect. It was ridiculous. A secret that's less subtle was the reveal of Darth Vader. As a tier 100 outfit, he was obviously going to make a big appearance in the trailer, and that included an amazing reference. As he's chasing down Peely on the baller coaster, he starts to lock on. Makes sense, because that is exactly what he did in A New Hope during the Trench Run. When Fortnite revealed the Halo creative map, Griff offered Ninja a dance battle.
Hey, wait, does that mean we can have dance battles? Come on, Ninja, what do you say?
Save it for New Year's.
That was, of course, a reference to when Ninja tried to dance at New Year's.
I'm not seeing enough movement.
Speaking of Halo, when Master Chief was announced at the Game Awards, he randomly came out of a fridge. Yeah, he was ripped in here in the story, but a refrigerator is a weird place to choose, right? Well, it's because Master Chief spent years in a cryo chamber, and this was Fortnite's way of reactivating him. But for a split second in the My Hero Academia trailer, pay attention to the montage of characters, and you'll see Deku bowing to All Might. It's an homage to the first episode where All Might says,
"You too can become a hero."
Fortnite loves these tiny references that only fans would pick up on, like in the mega cinematic when Thunder drifts on his bike. Seems familiar, right? Taking it back to a more nostalgic trailer, Season X has one of the best. In just a few seconds, you can find nods to every moment in Chapter 1. If you blink, you miss a boombox, spray can, and Durburger Rift. These were all there when Drift got taken from the California desert in Season 5. I especially love the Zero Crisis cinematic. There's so much detail in here, but no one really pays attention to the beginning. As Jones falls from the battle bus, he lands in a bush and takes 99 damage. This means for the rest of the battle, he is fighting dozens of enemies and even the Foundation with just 1 HP. Still not as wild as the time we saw the 0-point reveal an entirely new reality. For a split second, it had super realistic graphics and a bunch of people worshipping the orb. They were literally doing Praise the Sun from Dark Souls, and the weirdest part is that this remains totally unexplained to this day. A detail that was hidden in the background was during the Chrome season. Yeah, it had a lot of problems, but the trailer was incredible. While we're all focused on the 7 getting Chrome to death, you can look in the background for a handful of frames. It reveals 3 Bacta tanks. One of them has a banana inside, the other has a llama, and in the middle, Luke Skywalker, and barely anyone talks about this. Instead, the Mandalorian has been getting more attention, and that's why Fortnite gave him his own LTM. Thanks to Mando's bounty, we have a hilarious trailer which shows him hunting down Peely. Not only was this a nod to how Mando freezes people in Carbonite, but you could even go in-game and find frozen Peely in his apartment. Another incredible detail came to the island with Wolverine. As he gets approached by Fortnite characters, this happens. He's actually surprised by his claws because of the island removing his memory. Casual Fortnite fans would have noticed this, but they kept the continuity anyway. And I can't believe I never noticed this secret after 3 years, but in Deadpool's reveal trailer, he's reading Fortnite magazine on the toilet. So yeah, they have their own version of Vogue, but it gets better. The cover star is Agent Peely, who won Banana of the Year. It's a shame Fishstick didn't win an award, but he's too busy fighting in the jungle. Just ask Triggerfish. His reveal trailer was pretty intense, and that's because it was based on a scene from Apocalypse Now. From an understandable homage to revealing the black hole months in advance, Season 9's trailer was amazing. I mean, everyone remembers Jonesy and Peely having a great time in the bunker. That's all that happened. We don't talk about the incident, but we will talk about the arcade machine they were playing. This Durburger game is the same one that appeared during the black hole, months before we even knew about it. And by now, most people know the free Fortnite trailer is a parody of Apple's 1984 commercial, but Epic went further with some of the details. On the wall, you can see the App Store's terms of service projected, which talks about the 30% cut but they take every purchase. One of the most impressive things Fortnite does is giving backstories to the most unexpected outfits. Like when they dropped the Slurp Legends pack. These were clearly just reskins made of Slurp juice, but Fortnite released a trailer anyway. As they get created in the Slurp factory, you can spot Chaos Agent in the background, which explains they were his experiment. The Terminator 2 thumbs up is one of the most iconic scenes in movie history, and we've seen it referenced in games like Doom and Among Us, but now it's Fortnite's turn, and they did it with a twist. Instead of just copying it, they decided to give the movie an alternate ending, where Agent Jones saves the Terminator just in time. A secret that's way more subtle is in the Chapter 2 reveal trailer. We all thought Fortnite teased the island flip in Season 5, but they did it way earlier than that. As the black hole transitions to the puddle, you can see the camera rotate 180 degrees through space, revealing that we flipped upside down the whole time. So that brings us to the Zero Crisis cinematic. There's so much going on here, it's hard to keep track of things, but if you do, look at the tow truck that drives off a bridge. On the driver's side, there's a decal that says NC27518, which means this truck was taken directly from Epic Games' office in North Carolina. And one of the longest running secrets involved Bright Bomber's glider. This thing came out in 2019, and people have used it as their main combo hundreds of times, but never discovered a secret button. After 4 years, one player discovered that shooting midair with Bright Bomber, the Bright Bag, and the glider would unlock a button to shoot rainbow rockets. And let's rewind even further back to Chapter 1, because it turns out Fortnite has been teasing something since the very beginning. In some areas around the map, you can find a small briefcase with graffiti on it, and if you look very closely, it says Thor. This was of course leading up to their original superhero season, but Thor himself didn't release until 2 years later. And the greatest example of hiding in plain sight was in Chapter 1. You might remember the Durr Burger that showed up in a desert in California. This was obviously to promote the new season, but people were so distracted by the burger, they failed to notice a much bigger secret. If you looked at the desert on Google Maps, there's a huge circle in the ground, and at the time, no one paid attention because it didn't mean anything until a year later when the vault appeared on Fortnite's island. Now it made perfect sense, and people were blown away by how long Epic were teasing this. And that's especially after they renamed it multiple times to the 0 Point and now the Bridge. Now imagine looking at your favorite skin, using it every day, only for a trailer to completely blow your mind. This happened with Lil Whip. For years he looked like this and was widely accepted as his normal face until recently it turns out Lil Whip had his eyes closed the entire time. The only thing that got them to open was being crushed by a building, so I can never look at him the same. It's just like Peely, who's been a derpy banana since the dawn of time. But it wasn't until last month that Donald Mustard revealed the insane story behind his creation. We all thought he was just a random skin, but it turns out Donald's brother Chad hates bananas. So to troll him, they added Peely, and that's why Chad uses his skin in all of his videos. So if you're wondering, yeah, secrets are hidden everywhere in the game. Even dying has a story. When you get eliminated, a small drone collects your body, and it's been like this since day one. It wasn't until this year we found out the robot's true origin. The former Epic Games artist shared his design for a flying turd in Save the World, but it got used for BR instead. This caused people to look at Save the World again, and they found the elimination robot just with a couple extra parts. And when people analyze one of Fortnite's most famous weapons, I don't think they expected to find a secret message. The legendary pump shotgun has been around for a long time, but only a handful of people notice writing on the side. It says 11/06/93, which is the original release date of Jurassic Park. Turns out the reference even goes deeper with Smart Young Lady, also known as Clever Girl. When Fortnite Chapter 3 launched, players are scrambling to explore the map. They wanted to learn it as fast as possible. Yet no one noticed a collab teaser hiding right under our noses. This house seemed like an innocent POI, but it felt kind of familiar. We shrugged it off for 3 seasons, and that's when the Dragon Ball crossover was announced. Immediately people realized it was the Kame house, and Fortnite had been teasing it the whole chapter. So as you can see, Epic is really good at foreshadowing, and they do it as subtle as possible. When we entered Chapter 2 for the first time, no one expected a new map to have old POIs. Half of the island was from Chapter 1, and we assumed it was for nostalgia, but this was secretly a teaser years in the making. When the next map came around, we watched it flip, blowing our minds. Even crazier, this island had the other half of Chapter 1's POIs, which means the black hole split the map in half years before we even learned about it. Not everything is a total surprise though. One of the more obvious secrets was the Foundation. During his reveal, fans thought his voice was super familiar. Then they analyzed his suit. Every hint pointed to The Rock, but it was just speculation. We'd have to wait almost a year for the moment to break the internet. And he's not the only character to surprise us. Chaos Agent has been around for even longer, but it took years for us to learn a pretty important secret. He was added to Save the World in Chapter 3, and they hired a voice actor, but that's when we realized Chaos Agent is Russian.
No. That is impossible.
I don't think anyone was expecting that, but even when we figure out a mystery, it could be completely wrong. In Chapter 2, you can find a prison cell which someone broke out of, and on the wall there is a calendar. Looking closely, you'd see March 2020 with a birthday on the 9th.
Watch out! They've got TIE fighters in the sky scanning for targets. Get to cover. Watch out! They've got TIE fighters in the sky scanning for targets. Get to cover. It's Palpatine. The Emperor is here. Spread out and don't let him catch you in the open. Hold all command points. We've got this. Force wielder has joined the fight. Careful out there. On the run. Another victory for the Alliance.
Tu sì, te che ci sono da manà. Oh, insomma.
All units move to designated zones. For the Empire. The enemy has taken command point B. The enemy has taken command point A. Neutralizing. We've captured command point C. Taken command point C. All command points compromised. Get back out there and crush them! Rebel Inquisitor, engage with extreme caution. Lord Vader has arrived on the front. Stay out of his way and let him finish this. Rebel or Inquisitor, engage with extreme caution. Neutralizing.
it.